but you were tasked with leading the UCLA gymnastics program in the early 90s. How does someone get honored with that challenge, that opportunity, without having a gymnastics background?
I was asked to be the head coach after I'd been there for 7 years as the dance coach by Dr. Judy Holland, who was one of our athletic administrators, athletic directors. She hired people that she saw the character in that she wanted to lead the program versus their abilities. So when she asked me to be the head coach, and I laughed in her face and I said, "You remember, I don't know the first thing about gymnastics." And she told me, she says, "I like how you are firm, but you're compassionate with the student athletes, and I trust you'll figure the rest out." And that was all I got. So I made the biggest mistake of my career. My first few years as a head coach, I just mimicked other head coaches that had been successful. I had no foundation. I had no ideal culture that I wanted to implement. I just copied other coaches that had been successful. And it was horrible. I happened upon Coach Wooden's definition of success about 3 years into my coaching career, where we were horrible. Our team was like horrible. I was horrible. And his definition says, success is peace of mind and knowing you have done your best. And I had this aha moment. I was like, by mimicking other people, I've been trying to be somebody else. And it was so clear to me that in life, whenever you try to be somebody else, you will always be a second-rate them. You will never be as good at them at being them as they were. Like, even if I tried to mimic Coach Wooden, I would have always been a second-rate John Wooden. And the worst thing that happens is it stifles you from really becoming the best you that you can be. So I stopped mimicking other people. I went back to my office and I thought, what the heck do I bring to the table? I had 17 years of classical ballet training. Okay, how am I going to figure out this job? Along that time as well, I heard something that said, never outsource your competencies. And I thought, okay, I'm going to outsource my incompetencies, which happened to be all the gymnastics part, but I made sure not to outsource what I was competent at. There's a big part of sport that I did learn through the theater, and that was how to prepare myself physically, mentally, emotionally, so that when I was standing in the wings, I was calm, I was confident, and I was excited to get on stage. And no joke, but in the wings, there were buckets where some of the dancers would throw up before they would go on stage because they were so nervous. And then I didn't get that. I was like, why are you throwing up? This is the fun part. This is the celebration of all your hard work. So when I looked at the athletes I was coaching, their metaphor for standing in the wings is standing there at attention, waiting for the judge to salute them to go up in the event. And when you see athletes, a lot of gymnasts, they're like, their palms are sweating, their mouth is dry. They're taking these deep breaths. And I was like, oh God, okay. I can prepare them for that moment as well, if not better than any other coach in the country. And that really started this trajectory of people saying how unorthodox I was in my coaching, which to this day they say. And I'll never forget, I had a senior a few years later said to me, "Miss Val, you finally became a leader worth following." And I was like, okay. And she says, because you're not trying to be anybody else. So even when you screw up and make mistakes and you sincerely apologize to us, we know your intention is coming from an authentic place and not from something you read in a book or someone you're trying to mimic.